business today were the minutes. They were sent via email. Any alterations or corrections? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved, and I'll second that. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
2-0. All right. Right to Jared.
Have a lot of updates today. I did try to call Rod Jenis on the Carl Helms tile today, and I didn't get any answer back. The weather's nice and rain coming. My guess is he was on a piece of equipment doing something else and didn't answer his phone. But hopefully at the next meeting, I'll have an update on it of kind of what the timeline looks like on that tile replacement. Carnes Open Drain, they are just about completed with all of dipping it out. Still have leveling of spoil to do on it. That's the one that's out in Chester Township. And then the Craven tile, this is the one that's been kind of ongoing with NIPSCO over their utility crossing. We had some correspondence with with a gentleman who was looking at some other permitting, kind of on the beginning end of it. Mentioned that one was still an open permit that had not been resolved, and apparently that resonated with people up the chain. So I think attorney from NIPSCO had contacted Ted, worked out language that was agreeable to both sides, and we will be sending that information to them to send a new permit form back to us, and hopefully at our next meeting we will approve that one, and then that should all be closed out then. So it's funny how that works, that when they need another permit for another project, that, hey,
Yeah.
this one's still open, you know?
Yeah.
We get this one resolved first.
Yes, for sure.
On new business, Allen County had contact with them last week. Yeah, last week. The Jacob Johnson, they are proposing April the 16th for the joint board meeting. That is a Thursday. And the only time I really have is mid to late morning is what they're telling me. I don't know if they usually do those after their normal drainage board meeting, which is like at 9 a.m.
What day?
It'd be Thursday, April the 16th, day after the Titanic sank.
There's some knowledge.
There's your history for you today.
I will put it on. Got AIC meeting the day before in Ossian, so.
Okay. But they just wanted to make sure that that date worked for two of our members, so.
What time?
Mid to late morning,
10-ish probably.
I'm gonna guess around 10:30.
I'm gonna say 10, and then we'll get a different
Once we get
updated.
a time nailed down, I'll let you guys know.
Allen County has a public member drainage board as opposed to a commissioner board.
They have, is it 2 commissioners and a citizen, I think?
I believe it's 5. I believe when you have a citizen board, there's 5. I don't know, I can't tell you who sits on it. I know it consists of more than just the commissioners,
Yes.
as our board does.
Last time I remember was at least Therese Brown was on it.
Therese was on it, and
6 years ago, probably.
Nelson, at that time, I think they just had a 3-member board, but it was Nelson and Therese, and one of the other commissioners appointed somebody. Would that have been Linda, probably? Linda Bloom,
Not positive.
that time? She appointed, can't think of his name. He's actually an engineer, I know that. But yeah, once I get a time back from them to nail down a time, I'll let you guys know for sure. And other than that, that's all I have for the meeting. It sounds like we have a week of rain coming, so
Is this supposed to be heavy?
there's supposed to be some periods of potentially heavy rain. At least with everything being everything's really still pretty dry. As long as we don't get 2 inches in an hour or something like that, we can handle a fair amount of rain before it becomes a problem, unless we get it in an hour.
Yep.
Yeah.
We don't need that.
I think we're about 8 inches deficit from what normal precipitation. I just hope we don't get that 8 inches all in one day.
And I will apologize for my earlier statement. My statement was intended to say sometimes their drainage board meetings, I understand, go much longer than ours.
Yes.
But their board does consist of their 3 commissioners in Allen County plus 2 additional appointees. So it's,
Changed since.
correct, correct.
Any plans for spring projects that you can,
So
share, like in April, May, June?
we have a couple of tile projects that I would like to work on. One of them is up in the 8 Mile watershed. It's the Smith tile. We've replaced sections of it.
Right.
The 8 Mile watershed has a fairly healthy balance. There's 2 sections remaining to finish that tile. There's one that's in
8 and
front of the
9, or
house.
7 and 8, or something like that?
There's one that kind of runs parallel with County Road 700 North, short section. And then there's a longer section through the field that's probably half to 3/4 of a mile long. That's where we have the most problem. That's the one I'd like to try to replace spring, early summer. And then the tile that is in Toxin, and I think I brought this up at a previous meeting. Whenever the sewer project is going on and everything in Toxin is torn up, that would be a good time to do that tile
Do what we
project.
did at Murray at the
Do
same time?
what we did at Murray, what we did at Liberty Center, that try to do it all at the same time. And so I'm trying to figure out, part of that tile was replaced in a 224 project in the 40s or the 50s. And I think it is actually reinforced concrete pipe. And it's in pretty good condition, so I don't know that we need to replace it. But everything upstream of what's along 224, I think could use replaced. But while everything's being torn up in that town, it would be a good time to do it. So,
We'll keep that in mind.
and both of those are within the 8 Mile watershed. So, normally, when that fund got to that balance, we would be looking at shutting the collection off. But those 2 projects are probably gonna take it below the 4 times average.
Gotcha.
So, those are the 2 kind of on the horizon projects. And then I'm sure there will be others
That pop up, sure.
in other watersheds. One of them in Halls Creek, we replaced about a half a mile last year, 2 years, on the Gaskell tile. We might try to go across one more farm with it.